Welcome to Chatting with Wisdom for our weekly interview series. I am Geegado Megwan Kwe, which means Talking Feather Woman, and I am your host of this interview series. And I'm super excited that we are here with Lei today. So today we're going to be talking about, she's the founder of Handle the Shift, where she intuitively guides individuals through their life's challenges towards clarity and more self-awareness. So today we're going to learn more about her transformative work at Handle the Shift and connect with, you're able to connect with her on Facebook. And so I'm using my little phone today to be able to read out the introduction. As I shared with Lei, I'm in an Airbnb today, and I'm hoping that the little pitter patters upstairs you guys aren't going to hear. It's actually been kind of warming because I'm missing my grandson because I've been here for a few days. But Lei has navigated a profound non-physical experience through her life, including life-changing near-death experience at 21 and a shared death experience with her mother. These events propelled her journey of healing from childhood trauma and discovering her life's purpose. As an author, Lei shares her insights in books like There Was No Fear, Illuminating the Path to Pain-Free and Stress-Free Living. So one of the things that I want to mention is the last time that Lei and I had talked, because it's been a while since she and I have connected. And so the last time that we spoke was when she actually introduced her book. And I was just sharing with her before we came on that my mother-in-law had listened to the interview, and she's like, "Oh, I want to read that book." And so we got her that book, and she absolutely loved reading your book, Lei. So welcome back, and I'm so excited that you're here. So tell me a little bit more about what's been happening since, like, in the last year. So what's been going on in the last year?
For most of us, I think the last year has been an amazing time of transformation and change. And it's been like just constant change. So I'm in the process of revamping my business, the technology in it. And so I'm kind of in that weird place where everything isn't quite working quite yet, but we're getting there. Yes. Beyond that, I'm in the process of creating a course in the Wisdom Keepers gave me the 5 powers, which is based on the 5 Buddhist powers, but they made it the 5 powers simplified so that it would be easy for everyday people to be able to grasp and take hold of and use. Well, now I'm making that into a course. It's not made yet completely, but it's in the works, and it will be coming out in the near future. Beyond that, I've revamped my entire web page to make it not only simpler, but make it so that it's the business model of the future, which is it's accessible to everyone equally. And therefore, there's not a lot of paid, so far, we'll just put that in quotes, paid choices on it, but there's donation based.
Okay.
And that way, anybody who wants the support or guidance can have access to it. And that also makes it freer for everybody to, oh, I really like that. I think I want to donate some, or, whatever it happens to be. It makes it more free. And I think what the world is working toward is greater freedom, greater simplicity. And that's what I'm working toward also.
Beautiful. I love that, Lei. So that is something that is just so important with some of the things that we do. And so obviously not everything can be free, but I love how you're doing it, how you're actually setting this up specifically where it's donation based. And I know that we have different workshops and different things in the community, that's one of the things that in our community, that's one of the things that they will do is do donation based. And so like it's pay as you can. And so I have an elder that I connect with often enough. And that's one of the things when he does his healing sessions, it is like I'm not asking you for a certain amount of money. And he doesn't know who pays what or how, because it's like literally in a jar, and you just come and you just put whatever into the jar. So if it's a couple, like if it's 50 cents, it's 50 cents. Like it really is. And one of the things that that he has said is that for him, that has been his practice all along. And for him, it's been about being able to have that freedom, like that, not freedom, freedom's not the right word. I know that that was the word that you used, that everything just kind of works out in the wash. So somebody is trying. And that's one of the joys of using my, I can actually turn it off now, because I had left it on in case you and I were trying to still connect. So, but now I've turned it off. So usually I have it, I'm at my desk and I've got 3 computers. So things are turned off and doing different things on different computers. So, so I apologize about that. But that's one of the things that he said, is things always tend to work out in the wash, that it always makes things a huge difference as to how he said, like, so somebody that can pay 50 cents is, and then the next guy is going to pay 200, right? So like, it all depends on what they're able to do. And so he said it really does work out in the wash.
And it allows us to see everyone as being grateful, no matter what level they are grateful at.
Yes, absolutely. And of course, they're calling on the other phone. So hopefully you guys can't hear that, but I can. Yeah, this has just been a really, and I love, and that's one of the things that when Lee and I were coming on, technology doesn't always work exactly the way that we want it to. So that becomes very stressful sometimes, especially when we're trying to like make sure that everything is perfect. Nothing is perfect. And so life isn't perfect. And so, like I said, like there's the little pitter patters going on upstairs, and it is what it is. And hopefully it's not like too loud. And actually they've been pretty quiet in the last little bit. So I think they may have actually heard me say something, but like I'm hoping that that's not the case, because kids need to be kids, and that's really, really important for them to be able to play and have fun, and not have to worry about like being really super quiet because somebody's in their basement. But yeah, so like that's just, but it's just really important for us to be able to just kind of go with the flow, and just really be in this moment. And like we've seen this, right? So like we've seen a messenger just went off ringing, and then my other phone just went off ringing, and it just is what it is. But we're just, we just kind of go with it. And that's one of the things that I really like about the Chatting with Wisdom and the interview series, is it really is natural. So if we were on the phone together or we were doing whatever, like that's exactly what it is that we would be doing, is just having those conversations and not worrying about like what else is going on. We're just sitting here having tea, and whatever's happening around us is happening around us as we chat. But me and my little ADHD brain sometimes goes off and it's like, oh, what's that sound? What's going on? Squirrel. But yeah, so tell me a little bit more about how you came to having this model. Like, so how have you changed to this model versus other models?
Well, it comes down to what felt right and what didn't feel right in my inner self. And you know, of course, that this is not where thinking comes from.
Yeah.
This is the processor. The thinking comes from the gut. And so as long as we listen to what's going on in our gut, we have a much better feel for what's going on around us. Well, when things, whatever, pieces of business strike me as old model business, and the old model business is all about numbers, and it's not based on people. Mm-hmm. The new model is based on people and being of service to people. Each of us has a way of being of service to people. And each of us has talents or abilities that are useful in this life. And so as I listen to my gut, I can say, oh, that really doesn't feel like the new model. That feels like the old model. I don't want to do that. And I tried very hard to be in the old model. I took classes in the old model, and it was like, this is just not right. I can't do this. And then I started seeing some other models out there that are more based in the new model. And I kept finding ones that are more and more based in the new model. And I thought, that's what I want to do. I want to do that. Maybe not exactly like that because that's theirs,
Yeah.
but that's the model I want to use. And so it became, first of all, because we do have an ADHD society. Yes, me too, not just you. What people want is not to have to be sitting down for an hour to get the information. They want it in 5-minute snippets. My second book, or my book before There Was No Fear, is Dream It, See It, Live It. And it's written in snippets, 1-page snippets, because that's the attention span we have right now. But so I wanted everything to be in snippets. I have my website is 1 page, very simple, everything that you need on it, nothing extra. I'm not trying to tell you how wonderful I am or how much people love me. I've got it. This is it. This is it. There it is. Everything you need to know. And it's very simple to find and use. And so that all together helps me have a more simple life that is less stressful. But it's also, all of my videos on my YouTube channel are now going to be changed over to 5 to 10 minute snippets, not longer than that, because that's our attention span right now. I'm not going to try and make you go through an hour of sitting there going, oh, I don't have time for this. No, I'm going to try and work with you on what you've got and how you are working right now. And that's the business model of the future, is being of the most service that I can in the best way possible for my people. The numbers don't matter, they'll come. Money is an energy. Everything is an energy. Everything around us, energy abundantly everywhere.
Absolutely.
And that's what we really need to worry about.
And it's really, and like, I really love how you talk about like that authenticity for yourself, right? So like really trusting your gut, knowing what it is that works for you, and doing the things that you need to be doing. That is a model that works for you, but without judgment of other people's models, right? So you're not, at no point did you say, yeah, well, Joe Blow down the street is doing it this way, and like that is so wrong. It's like, it wasn't resonating for me. And that's the part that I really needed to work on, was how can I actually shift this so that it was working for me? And I love that authenticity that you're sharing, Lei, because like that is so powerful in how we are, how we need to help each other and be, and like you said, be of service. And so people are in service. Like, so we do coaching, we do the different things that we are doing, whereas other people are of service by, and I'm actually going to say the trash truck, because like that has been a new, that's been a show that I have been watching with my grandson, because it is his favorite show, and it's called Trash Truck. And he just gets super excited about trash truck. And so like people, and so now he's associated the show with the actual trash truck. And so we wave at the driver every time, and it's like, hey, trash truck. So I'm sure the guy would prefer that we didn't call him trash truck, but it really is like, he is of service, and he makes he helps to keep our yard, like our communities clean, but he also gets to bring some excitement to these like under 2-year-olds who get to go and watch this trash truck show that makes it so that they understand how important every role is and what's going on. And how we're doing things, right? Like everybody has a role, everybody has, and sometimes our roles change, but it's just important for us to be able to know that there's not one person who is more important than the other person in our world, right?
And be grateful for all of the services and everything that we have, even if it doesn't resonate as us, if we don't, necessarily think about it. It is a service for us. Mm-hmm. Everyone is a service person. And understanding that whatever you do, you can be, a cashier at Walmart or something like that. That's a service. It's a necessary service. Yes. Every one of us is important, and every one of us has a reason for being here.
Absolutely. And sometimes our reason for being here is like all the ups and downs that we have to go through, right? So sometimes that is part of our, well, that is part of our journey. Part of our journey is going through all these ups and downs and all the things that are happening. And so we jokingly say all the time, we own 2 houses and we live in a trailer, right? So, but it's just all the different things that are actually going on. It's just like, it's the journey that we need to be going through as to what it is that's happening. And so it's just really important for us to remember that all these ups and downs. And so like even jumping on a live and the technology isn't working exactly the way that it needs to. And I've been on the live where I'm the host and I've disappeared and my person is still talking while I'm gone and trying to get back in again. Right. So it just happens. And if we just need to remember that we just need to go with the flow and we need to just allow ourselves to be able to have whatever experience that is going on. And so it's just really important for us to know that whatever part of our life journey that we're going through is what it is that we need to be doing. So like I'm not sure where are you from anyway, Lee?
I live in Hawaii right now.
You're in Hawaii. Okay. So I'm in Ottawa right now. And so I'm from a small northern community. And so Ottawa is like our capital city. And so like driving down here, we drove some people down here that needed to have a medical procedure. And so while we were driving down here, we would miss turns and the roads would go the people that I was here with, they kept saying, "Oh my gosh, Rollie, I'm really sorry. Like, I'm really sorry that this is disrupting you." And I'm like, it's not disrupting me. It's not a big deal. The GPS will just continue to recalculate. And we don't have an actual set appointment time. So we're good. We don't have to worry about it because we ended up coming in at rush hour because we had made some extra stops, which were nice. But then we ended up in the rush hour moment. But it's just, and what was that experience? Like it took me an hour. It's 20 minutes from when I dropped them off at their motel to the Airbnb. And it took me an hour, almost an hour to get here. And it was like, because I just kept recalculating. And, but it wasn't a big deal, right? So like, it was not a big deal. I just continued to go on my way. My husband ended up calling me during that time. So him and I were on the phone. And so while we're talking, then I'm still like re-navigating all the ways that I need to go. And it's like, oh, I missed that turn again. And so, but like, we don't have those big turns, right? So like, we don't have these great big, huge loops that we have to make and we have to do. It is just we've got sometimes one-way streets, but very few and a very small community. So it's pretty simple for us to be able to get around. But you can actually put me in a paper bag, shake me up 3 times, and I can get lost in the paper bag. So it's not unusual. And so the GPS is wonderful because it actually helps to take me when I do miss the turn, being able to come back. But our life is like that, right? So sometimes we miss that turn and we need to come back, right?
And that sounds like me in technology to a T.
So, but it's really important for us to be able to come back, right? So like, it's important for us to be able to even with the experiences that you've had, right? You started off on a path and this is where you were going and this is what you were doing. And then life said, oh, guess what? We're going to give you a near-death experience for you to have like this aha moment, right? And then it's like, okay, now we're going to do whatever. And then it's like, all of a sudden there's another one, right? So for you, your path has like Spirit's thrown some like pretty heavy duty stuff in your path, right?
I didn't come here to have an easy life. I came here to transform, and it's been the whole thing from the very beginning has been transforming. And so I wouldn't necessarily advise that anybody else try this. It's like, don't try this at home kind of thing. But that's apparently what I chose and needed so that I could have the experience of being who I am now, which I wouldn't trade for anything. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't change anything, no matter how hard it was. And it was hard. But I needed all of that so that I could have the traits and the abilities that I have now. So exactly. I think that is something for everyone to keep in mind, is that whatever you're going through, that's what you chose and what you need so that you can become the very best you can be.
Absolutely. And like that is just so important for us to remember that these are our life paths. So we get to a crossroads depending on what it is. Like, and so for you, like there wasn't necessarily a crossroads. It was like yours was like pretty intense. Like you said, don't try this at home. But like for a lot of us, we get to a crossroads and we have to decide, are we going straight, right, or left? And so it's like, where am I going and how am I going to do that? And it's like, and sometimes we can actually foresee that if we actually go left, then this is kind of what's going to happen. If we go forward, this is what's going to happen. And if we go right, this is what's going to happen. So sometimes we actually have that possibility of an insight, but we don't always know, right? So like the grass isn't always greener on the other side. And like all those cliches, like all those things that we say are because like these are real, like these are realities. These are things that allow us to be able to know that these are the steps that we need to take and how we need to be able to do them and how we get to move forward in all of these sessions, right? So, and sessions, I mean like they're not sessions as in, but it's like that path, that way of being able to go through whatever it is that we have happening, right?
And most of us are so busy running. We get to the intersection, we just run right through it and keep going. And if we can just stop for a minute and say, hey, wait a minute, I have choices, and understand that we do have choices, and that we don't have to take that path. We can take that path. I mean, there's an unlimited number of choices and paths that we can take. And sometimes it just takes stopping for a minute and taking a little breath and saying, hey, that one looks like that one might be better.
So, and sometimes the choice is not making a choice, right? So sometimes, right? So like sometimes our choice is like not making a choice, but it's that conscious not making that choice, right? So consciously not wanting to make that for whatever reason, right? So like we all have, and a lot of times when we're doing transformation or we're changing or things are happening, it's scary on the other side. And it's like, it's just easier to just stay in the comfort of whatever it is that we have going on until we're ready to take that next step and ready to do what we need to do next, right?
But not just barreling through the intersection.
Absolutely. You need to stop for the stop sign and not realize afterwards that you just blew the stop sign.
And boy, aren't you grateful you didn't get hit.
Absolutely. So like, and it's just really important for us to be able to remember that of what it is that we have going on. And so I wrote down for those of you who are on YouTube and on my Facebook page, I put in the names of the two books that Lei had put in. So Dream It, See It, Live It. And also There Was No Fear. And so There Was No Fear is the one that my mother-in-law had asked me to purchase. And so, but yeah, so like these are two of Lei's resources that are out there. So is there anything else that you wanted to be able to share, Lei? Like, is there anything that you're doing or that you're offering or that, or just a message that you wanted to share?
Well, if anyone's interested in just, I just needed some tools right now, go to my webpage, and at the bottom, there's a link to my favorite tools. These are the tools that I use most commonly in my sessions. And yes, it's kind of made generic for a generic audience. And when I'm in session, it will be tailored to whomever is there and whatever they're going through. But you can get a sense of those tools and you can see how you might be able to use them. And as I said, there's no cost to it. There's just, you push the button and you get to the tools and you can look through the tools and see which one might work for you. And that's what I offer everyone. So I would say that's a really good place to go also.
So wherever it is that you're listening to this, for those of you who are listening to this on the podcast, in the description has Lei's contact information, including her website. And again, for those of you who are on Facebook and YouTube, I've put the link inside that inside the chat, inside the comment section, so that I know that I like having an easy link. So keeping it simple, like Lee said, right? So I'd like to try and put the link there if I can. And so I added that link, so that way there, if somebody wants to be able to just come and find it easily. But like I said, wherever it is that you're listening to this on the podcast or on the replays, it's somewhere in the description of wherever it is that you're listening to. And so definitely reach out and check out some of her offerings, the things that she's doing. So is there anything else that you wanted to share, Lee, before we head out?
I just for simplicity's sake, the website is handletheshift.com. And the only thing else I would like to add is that whatever we can each do to make our lives more peaceful, more calm, like soft, easy, gentle, kind. That's one of my monikers that I use frequently. Or just, hey, in this moment, I'm not feeling as good as I should. Okay, let me take a breath. Just one nice deep breath and let it out. And it's so calming. But the whole point of life right now is to enjoy it. If you're not enjoying it, do something to make sure that you can enjoy it more. And even if it's something simple like take a breath.
Absolutely.
We're here to move toward freedom. That's personal freedom as well as it is, freedom from a lot of other things. But how can we live more freely? How can we live more simply? How can we live more joyously?
And that is just so important for us to be able to do. And like you said, like just taking a breath. So like when you're in the middle of the hustle and bustle and all the crazy things are happening all around, is just stopping. And one of the things that I try to remind people is putting your feet on the ground, right? So, and putting both feet on the ground. And especially when you're like a runner, right? So like, and I don't mean physical, like I don't mean like doing laps kind of runner, but like when you're constantly on the go and you've got lots of things going on, is that when you see that things are like all over the place, is being able to stop and just recognizing, where are my feet? So am I on my toes? Am I like, or am I on my flat feet? Right? So like as soon as you realize that, is just being able to just bring yourself back into that grounding space and just being able to slow things down. And so this weekend we had a powwow that we had within our community, and that was one of the things that we got there, and they had so on the Sunday I was one of the flag carriers, and as they were doing the grand entry, and so just as I was standing there, it was like, okay, I've got my sandals on, like they're not the easiest thing to like try and stay grounded in. And so then I tossed off my sandals and yelled at my friend to come and grab my sandals that I had tossed over in that direction. And but one of the arena keeper had said, "Oh, you're taking off your shoes." And I said, of course, being able to just get my feet into the ground, right? So like, and it was like, if I had my regular shoes on or had my moccasins on, it would have been a little easier. But like with flip-flops, it's like, that's a little hard for you to be able to do the step. And so I was like, no, just toss them. Like, it's still warm enough. We still have warm enough weather here in Northern Ontario that allows us to be able to still have our feet in the grass. Because this time of the year, we're kind of into the cold, rainy, sometimes slushy and sometimes snowy weather. And so we get that snow a little earlier than everyone else, but it's been beautiful and it's been gorgeous. And so just being able to take that time to just ground ourselves. And so, and just taking that moment to just be in that space. And you being in Hawaii, that's one of my places on my wish list that I'm eventually going to go. And so, and I'm sure there's lots of different places that you can actually get a lot of that healing, right?
I live I live out in the boonies, out in the sticks, and I spend time in nature on the ground every day.
Beautiful. That is amazing. And that is just something that is just so simple. And so you were talking about the breath, and one of the things that we have a little guy who's 5, And sometimes it's just a whirlwind of emotions for him. And so one of the things that I remind him is to breathe like a tree. And the first time that I said that to him, he's like, trees don't breathe. And I said, sure they do. And so then I brought him over to the tree and said, okay, now take a deep breath and feel it with your hand. And so like feel everything coming out of you into the tree where it's actually going into the roots, and that you're actually going to breathe like a tree. And so when he gets all riled up, that's one of the things that he will actually say to his mom is like, just need to breathe like a tree. And so, which is beautiful, because it really just is like, it's just stop and take a breath, right? Just doesn't matter what it is that's going on, just stop and take a breath.
Or smell a flower, or whatever it happens to be.
Absolutely. So just taking that moment of whatever it is that we have going on. So I want to thank you again, Lei, for joining me. And I would say that next time maybe we won't have any technical issues, but who knows? We're not the decider of that.
No. And I'm very grateful that you had me here today, and I've really enjoyed our conversation.
Beautiful. Thanks so much, Lei. And so for everyone else, I will see you guys next Wednesday for another Chatting with Wisdom. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.